Yes, now we start
Yes,
recording
yes,
it.
sir. It's got recorded.
Okay. Yes, you can start. Moving
Okay,
on.
sir. Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you so much. A very good evening to one and all. I take this opportunity on behalf of Vidya Pratishthan Arts Science Commerce College under the heading of the Innovation Cell under Institutions Innovation Council in collaboration with the Microbiology Society of India jointly organizing this today's event at this evening on a virtual platform, the webinar on molecular modeling in biological sciences. And I welcome today's guest and the chief speaker, Dr. Bajrang Kumbhar sir, who is MSc PhD postdoc from IIT Mumbai, who would be speaking on this molecular modeling in biological sciences. And I also welcome Dr. Arvind Deshmukh sir, who is the president of Microbiology Society of India, who has revolutionized in the field of microbiology, taking across the colleges, institutions, organizations, not only just in India, but even abroad also. And I also take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Sanjeev Pathankar sir. I don't know whether sir is there on the group joined or not, who is the president of Maharashtra and Goa unit of Microbiology Society, and Dr. Bharat Shinde, the principal of Vidya Pratishthan Arts Science Commerce College, for this webinar, which we are going to conduct it on this virtual platform. So I once again welcome one and all who have joined all across the country, starting from Rajasthan, MP, UP, and similarly Maharashtra and many other places across the country. Thank you all once again for giving us an opportunity to showcase today's topic before you all, that is the molecular modeling in biological sciences. So after that brief welcome note, I would like to just in a very few minutes over to give you an overview of what Microbiology Society of India is, which definitely the president Dr. M. Deshmukh sir would be putting forth, but just to showcase a few glimpses of it. So it was established in March 1996 by Dr. Arvind Deshmukh sir, who is the present president of the India, and he has been instrumental in taking the society all across the country as well as abroad in the SAARC countries, in US, UK, and many other, under the loop of which there are so many events organized and so many faculty and students who are being put in this network, where there is a special telegram app maintained for the Microbiology Society, which is in itself a hallmark. And similarly, it has organized many events of workshops, trainings, seminars, conferences at international and national level, and it has also put forth awards for the best researcher, best student, best college, so which has given microbiology as well as the biotechnology departments a huge success for the development of the subject. And a landmark contribution of this society has been to take up microbiology even at junior college level, where now we have microbiologists who could offer themselves for the employment of even junior college, which in itself is a great success story which we can speak about. And similarly, there are at present 275 life members, and there are around 7,000 annual student members. And as a history, there are 200 student units which have been initialized in so many colleges across the country. And under this umbrella of Microbiology Society, virtual classes have also been continuously organized throughout the year by experts from all different fields as such. And it also runs a journal of microbial world under its umbrella. So these are few glimpses to give you ahead. And it has also organized so many innovative competitions as Immunofest, a Rangoli competition which is unique of its kind, and similarly Microbiome Fest, which is a food event which had seen a huge response among all the colleges all across the country. So after these few glimpses of what MSI is, Microbiology Society of India is, I also take this opportunity to give you a very small intro of the Ministry of Education, under the Government of India's umbrella, where the innovation cell, which has recently been started, under which our college boasts, that is Vidya Pratishthan's Art Science Commerce College, boasts of starting a council, which is the Institutions and Innovation Council, under which today's event has been organized. So I take this opportunity to also welcome the president of this Institutions and Innovation Council of Vidya Pratishthan Art Science Commerce College, Professor Neelima Pendharkar, coordinator IQAC and head department of microbiology. And I also take this opportunity to welcome the convener of this institution's innovation council, Dr. Tushar Borse sir from the Department of Biotechnology. And once again, I welcome one and all for this today's webinar on molecular modeling in biological sciences, where we have a huge response of 586. I suppose till now the registrations are, and at present we have almost around 186 participants joined on this Google Meet. So thanking you one and all. Now proceeding with the formalities of this webinar, I request Dr. Bharat Shinde sir, Principal, Vidya Pratishthan Art Science Commerce College, to kindly address the gathering and also to introduce today's webinar to the august gathering who are on this virtual platform. Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Shinde
Good
sir?
evening
Yes,
to
sir.
one and all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I welcome Dr. Bajrang Kumbar, Dr. Arvind Deshmukh, who is President of Microbiology Society of India. It is long journey, sir. This is, association is formed in 1996. So you have done wonderful job all over the world. I will not say in Maharashtra or India, because we have a number of participants, research persons, and students from various countries in different events which are organized through MSI. I hope my department, that is Department of Microbiology from Vidya Pratishthan's Arts, Science and Commerce College, plays key role. They are involving all the students of undergraduate and postgraduate in various competitions which are organized by MSI. I think a couple of years back, our department has received Best Department Award from Microbiologist Society of India, which was given in Nasik. So I thank Deshmukh sir and his team, who are taking a lot of efforts to make this subject popular. And in COVID also, I think you have felicitated students of microbiology, biotechnology, who played key role as a volunteer in different activities in different states. So hats off to you, sir, as you are playing key role. Now, in a nutshell, I would like to give a short information of our college. The Vidya Pratishthan's Arts, Science and Commerce College was established in 1994, hardly a couple of years before MSI. This college has re-accredited by NAC. We have recently received very nice ranking from ARIA. Our position was in between 6th to 25th. We have also got Swachhata ranking award from MHRD New Delhi. Best College Award from University of Pune. DBT Star and DBT status from DBT Government of India. Then we have also got DST FIST funding from Government of India. Recently, we have started the food technology course, which was funded by UGC. We have wonderful central instrumentation facility, and other infrastructure is also excellent. I am proud to say, sir, we have received 2 research centers now. One of them is biotechnology and second one is physics from this academic year. So from 11 to now doctorate, our college can accommodate students from various disciplines. We have wonderful library. the success ratio of competitive exams is excellent. From last 3 years, more than 30 students qualified various examinations conducted by state and central government, that is MPSC and UPSC. Very nice structure for sports and cultural events, and our placement record is also wonderful. So as there are n number of students from other states, I earnestly appeal them that you should join postgraduate department of our college, so that we will be happy and we will reach out of Maharashtra. We can make our microbiology department as a global, so that students from various states. I hope Deshmukh sir has brought team from Nepal, Bangladesh, and other countries. So now, sir, we can organize international conference, as we have got research center. That was the nod from SPPU for giving funding. I was there for your lecture, how to generate funds, even if there is no postgraduate department. I think you have given very nice idea how to get funds. So thank you for giving ideas to all teachers, heads, vice principals, and even there are some management members for your lecture, sir. So I again welcome all of you, and I will hand over the mic to my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sinde sir. Yes, this has truly given a complete picture of what Vidya Pratishthan Arts Science Commerce College is, which has won so many national accolades as the Swachh College, and similarly, as sir has said, so many others. So taking ahead, I now request Dr. Arvind Deshmukh sir, the President of Microbiology Society of India, under whose umbrella we are organizing today's webinar, to kindly introduce the MSI and its agenda to the August gathering. Yes, sir, please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for giving an opportunity and such a beautiful organization by your team. I first appreciate you. Bajrang Kumbar is my student, and he is developing like this. So I'm very happy to see his progress in the microbiology, and we always support such students. Now, I will not take much time. The reason is that if you are interested to go study Microbiology Society, go on the website www.microbiosociety.org. All students can get everything from the website. Only one suggestion I would like to give here. For all students and teachers, I will tell, please make off your audio and video, except organizer and speaker. Others should not be on video or audio. If they attempt it, I can remove them, because it's very simple. Don't blame me that I have removed them. I can remove them from the meeting. So don't compel me to remove. And now I will again hand over the charge to Nilima ma'am, and you can over to Nilima ma'am for further proceeding. Thank you, and best wishes to Bajrang, Dr. Bajrang. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, indeed, as sir has announced, because there are so many students on this group, these students can enroll themselves as under the student union units also of their own college, and directly also into the society. I have just typed in the chat box the society's website, which you can just browse through for the further details. Going ahead, thank you very much, Deshmukh sir, once again for being the stalwart in taking across microbiology and biotechnology across the globe, making a network of so many stakeholders of teachers, students, and the industry people, as well as the organizations. Thank you so much, sir. Taking across, we now eagerly waiting for listening to Dr. Bajrang Kumbhar sir. So I take this opportunity to request Dr. Tushar Bhorse sir, the convener of Institutions Innovation Council of Vidya Pratishthan Arts Science Commerce College, to kindly give the introduction of today's guest speaker, Dr. Bajrang Kumbhar sir. Bhorse sir, please.
Thank you, madam. Good evening, all of you. Respected dignitaries, Dr. A.M. Deshmukh sir, Dr. Bharat Shinde sir, Principal VPSC, and the other dignitaries and the dear participants. We all have gathered today here for a webinar by Dr. Bajrang Kumbhar sir. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Bajrang Kumbhar sir. So, with respect to his qualifications, he has done his graduation in chemistry, post-graduation in biochemistry, and then PhD in biochemistry from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. So he has completed his education in 2013. The topic of his PhD was on effect of hypermodified nucleosides on the anticodon loop structure of tRNA. And he has worked under the guidance of Dr. Kailash D. Sonone from Department of Biochemistry, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. In his career, he has worked as a senior research fellow under the UGC SAP program at Shivaji University. He has also worked as an institute postdoctoral fellowship at IIT Mumbai. Then he has worked as a senior research associate at IIT Mumbai. He has also worked as an assistant professor, Department of Life Sciences, School of Science, Sandeep University, Nashik. And he has also worked as an application scientist, ImmunoAct Private Limited at IIT Bombay. So this, along with his research activities, he has also been involved into the teaching field, where he has also worked as a teaching assistant for the postgraduate diploma in bioinformatics students at Department of Biochemistry, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Then he also has an industrial experience where he's working as a consultant at Haystack Analytics Private Limited at IIT Mumbai. He has a rich research background where it can be reflected through his publications. So to his name, he has around 18 international publications, 5 national publications. He has been invited in many of the national and international conferences or the workshops. He has presented as an oral presenter, or he has also presented the posters at many national and international conferences. Around something 30 oral and poster presentations he has done. So this biodata gives us an idea that Dr. Kumbhar is a person with a rich research background along with the teaching background. So with this short introduction, I request Dr. Bajrang Kumbhar to present his screen and start with the webinar for today's webinar series.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
One request,
Yeah,
to
thank you,
Dr.
Bhorse sir.
One request to Dr. Bajrang.
Yes, sir.
You try to simplify the subject because maximum number is the students.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why I make presentation in a way that even though third person can also understand what is happening.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Yes, sir. Yes. And Deshmukh sir, we have a few joining even from Kashmir, sir.
So that's great.
Yes, so we have 2 participants from Kashmir. So we have covered from Kashmir to Kerala, sir.
Oh,
you. Very good, very good. Congratulations.
And 220 participants have joined, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yes, so over to you, Bajrang
Yes.
Kumbhar, sir.
yes, sir. First, I would like to thank organizers from Vidya Pratishthan College. And first, I would like to thank Nilima Pendalkar Madam, A.M. Deshmukh sir, Bhorse sir, Shinde sir, Patankar sir, for giving me a support to present such a diverse topic to the audience who is exactly, completely, sometimes unknown to the field. But it is very important right now to go to this new concepts. It's not a new concept, it's completely a old concept. It's coming from the experimental to the computational field. So first, I would like to thank all the team members from Vidya Pratishthan and A.M. Deshmukh sir for giving me opportunity to present here. So let me start my presentation. So I think everyone with this.
Yes, sir. Your screen
Yeah,
is visible,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. Screen is visible. Yeah, just a minute. So this is something different in biological sciences. So people know that what is like people know that molecular modeling. Okay, so why I choose this topic, because currently I'm working in this area to understand exactly how the biological people can use this molecular modeling approach to solve some biological problems. So many people knows that um, they know it's computer, but sometimes they don't know about some biological concepts. Or some people knows biological concepts, but sometimes they don't know about the computational field. So that is the main problem behind this problem. So this problem is exactly that's why this field is little bit back behind the other fields. So I'm talking in a way that each and everyone should understand exactly what is going on in the molecular modeling field. So this is the outline of the present study. So introduction of the molecular modeling study, biological data, biophysical data, molecular modeling, what is exactly molecular modeling, and application of molecular modeling in various fields. So first, let me tell you about the what is exactly the biological data. So everyone now knows that the central dogma of life, transcription, translation, then protein synthesis. So these are the main target for various biological problems. So sometimes mutation in DNA may reflect in the protein, and the protein exactly involved in various metabolic processes. So understanding the DNA, understanding the mRNA, and understanding the protein play very important role in drug discovery, as well as understanding the various disease causing the reason behind the disease causing. So where exactly this data, how this data is coming? So now in biological way, biological data, the people are like isolation of DNA molecules, then isolation of mRNA molecules, and isolation of protein. Where this data goes, this data goes into the certain repository, online repository. Suppose I isolate DNA and I put that DNA into somewhere exactly. Why people are depositing DNA? Now everybody knows that DNA sequencing, and that lead to them understanding some basic mechanism. So um, DNA sequencing comes with exactly the gene compositions, and that gene compositions is exactly stored in certain locations. So people started depositing at various places. So where exactly you can find DNA related informations? You can find a DNA related information into the certain databases that called as a DNA databases. Now, which are those databases? One is the DNA Data Bank of Japan, second one is Gene Bank, and third one is the EMBL, European Molecular Biology Laboratories, where you can find out the genetic related gene related information. You can download that information, you can share that information, you can use this information for understanding the gene compositions. Now, Human Genome Project, when started and ended in 2003, it gives lot of information about the different genes and this is compositions. So, if you want to understand, suppose gene number one, like chromosome number one, what are the different genetic information present in gene number one, where you can find, then you have to go to the specific databases called as the DNA Data Bank of Japan, or sometimes Gene Bank or EMBL. So where how this data come into the one platform. So NCBI is the only one platform where you can collect this data. So NCBI is connected to the all these databases, DDBJ, Gene Bank, EMBL. And if you search, suppose a trypsin related gene, so you will get the trypsin related gene. And if you want to compare trypsin related gene to the plant, to the microbes, or to other some organelles, you will get, if the sequence is available, you will easily get this genetic information. Hello, you will get. I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
You are audible,
yeah.
sir.
So you will get that kind of a basic information. Okay, so you can compare a gene from suppose E. coli and gene from a plant. Okay, you can easily compare that genes. So that's why you don't have to go to the any other door to find out exactly what kind of a gene you isolated, what kind of genes you are collecting from the different species. So collections, understanding, then finding the mutations, finding the base pair variations, you can easily done by using the, because of the availability of this kind of a genetic databases. And now people isolated gene and they don't know that how, where to go. Then there are some repository, means DDBJ, Gene Bank and EMBL, which is connected to the NCBI. Only you have to search. I will explain in next slide that how you can go with the tutorial, that how you can find out the gene or that kind of tutorials are available. I will discuss in this next few slides. So another database is called as a RNA databases, microRNA databases, RFM databases. These databases also having the sequences of mRNAs, microRNAs, or some other kind of RNA molecules like tRNA or ribosomal RNA. So that kind of information, why this information is important? Because this information is important to understand the evolutionary concepts. So these are the evolutionary footprints, DNAs, compositions, RNA composition. These are the evolutionary footprints. And you, if you know how the gene evolved, you have to compare. So for that reason, these databases play a very important role in the current biological systems. So if you have mRNA or if you have ribosomal RNA, now people are doing 16S RNA to compare, to identify the evolutionary relationship between the two organisms, whatever they isolated from the, isolated from the so any sources, and I want to compare which organism is that. The people are doing 16S RNA. So 16S RNA is a composition of it's a ribosomal RNA, and you can find similar kind of a RNA information in a RNA databases. Okay, so easily you can do a blast. Now the very well-known technique, suppose if you have a gene and you want to compare with other, then you have to use a BLAST. If so many people are using BLAST, a basic local alignment search tool, means all the databases are connected to the NCBI and you will get information related to your query sequence. So that is called as a matrices. So matrice is a mathematical tool that can be used to compare similar sequences, and that's why you can easily find out certain sequences which are matching to your 16S RNA or a DNA sequence. So that's why they plays very important role in evolutionary biology to understand exactly what are the differences, or what exactly happening at the evolutionary time steps. The another and very important database called as a protein database, which is called, we call it DNA translated into the protein. So protein databases. So protein, everybody know that primary sequence of protein, secondary sequence of the protein, and tertiary structure of protein. Okay, what you get from all these things? A primary means only amino acid sequences, and then secondary databases which consist alpha helical and beta helical informations. And how, where you can get these informations? So there are primary databases and secondary databases are there. So why primary and secondary? So initially people collected sequences to find out exactly the evolutionary relationship between proteins. So now they know that they have certain regions are conserved. So people make conserved databases. Conserved, which are the region, like this region, suppose some region is conserved. So people make another database called secondary databases, where you can find out the conserved region. So why conserved region? Like conserved region play important role to which deals with the function as well as the structure function relationships. So maybe sometime active sites are present in the conserved region. That's why it makes sense that if we have secondary databases, we will give the information about where exactly active sites, where exactly certain domains are conserved in particular unknown sequences. So you can compare your sequence with the secondary database or primary databases. So where exactly you will get the information about the protein databases? Even the NCBI, there is a protein database there. But one more database is that is called the UniProt database. So UniProt database is a database where you will get the information about the protein sequence, function, localization, sequence, similar PDB structure, similar sequences, and related literatures. So that much of huge information you will get on the protein databases. So why protein? Because protein are like important target in various diseases, cancer, diabetes, so many diseases you consider, where you will get the information about the proteins are playing important role in metabolic processes. So that's why protein, and that's why UniProt database, or we call it SwissProt database, is available. So it gives more information. If you isolate some protein and you want to find out exactly where it matches, then you can compare your protein sequence using the BLAST then blast search the UniProt database and find out exactly where your protein sequence is there. So these are some biological data, and now how this data is converted, used for computational modeling or computational biology approach. So let me go to the next slide. So you can see here sequence statistics. So you can see the growth of primary sequences. The first graph shows that growth of gene bank where DNA databases are there. In 2020-21, you can see around 1 into 10 raised to 12. That much of sequences are deposited. That much of base pairs are there. Okay, so you will get this, like in 1982, you will get only few sequences there. But in 2021, you will get a huge amount of database sequences available in the databases. Means there are people are doing lot of research on experimental biology, and they have a lot of data. But I will connect this with the molecular modeling in a way that how you can utilize this data. Now the second graph clearly shows that this is the number of entries in FISHPROT or UniProt database over a time. In 1998 or 2000, there are very few sequences available in the databases. But how the time evolves, you can see in 2021, there are, I can't read this number. So that much of protein sequences are available in the protein databases. So the graph shows that the continuous data are generated and deposited in the database. So you can see here, it is exponential graph. It can goes and goes and goes. People are isolating the sequences from various laboratories. Let me go to the another. So this earlier graph shows that this is a protein sequencer. That means the protein sequences are there. So what about the three-dimensional structures of proteins? Okay, that is also very interesting. Now everybody knows about the spike proteins, and it's having this kind of a trimer structures involved in interactions. So many things are currently people knows about the three-dimensional structures. Even though enzyme activity, you can compare that data. Now you can say in case of a RCSB, protein three dimension. This is a RCSB. I collected this information from RCSB. So this shows that how the crystal structures are evolved. So number of release structure per year. Okay, you can see in 1975 very few structures are there, and in 2014 this data is for 2014, but 2020 to 2021 the data you can see huge number of crystal structures are available. Means you have structures of trypsin, chymotrypsin, then tRNA, DNA, then you have structures of viruses, you have structures of spike protein, you have structures of hemoglobin. Now you have everything in your hand. But how you can download and how you can visualize this? So you can use RCSB database. It's a research collaborative for structural bioinformatics database. You can use this database to visualize or understand exactly the atomic level compositions of the tRNA, then mRNA, then DNA sequences, then antibodies, then you can use hemoglobin kind of structures. Then lot of things are available, tubulin, microtubules, cytoskeleton filaments, everything is now crystallized by using biophysical methods. So what are those biophysical methods? Biophysical method includes, initially it includes X-ray, then comes NMR, then cryo-electron microscopy. So people are using NMR, cryo-electron microscopy, X-ray are play a very important role in understanding the biology at the atomic scale. Okay. I am audible to everyone, na? Hello?
Sir, can
Yes,
you
sir.
do-
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah, okay, okay. Do you have any questions? Anyone? Okay. I will go to next slide.
Yeah, if the audience have any, the participants, the audience, if they have any questions, sir is asking for any of the questions if you have, so that he can proceed further.
So these are some initial kind of a knowledge that I would like to put into their mind that yes, we are going to move to the molecular modeling. So that's why initially we should have this kind of information. So another
Yes, sir.
yeah. So another very interesting where you can find the biological database, where you can find biological sequences. Suppose if you want to see the trypsin, chymotrypsin, tubulin, then myosin kind of molecular motors, we can easily go to the certain database. Suppose if you want to go with a DNA, a genetic information, you can go to DDBJ, EMBL or Gene Bank. So those are in BSc level or MSc level. At least you just go and visit these databases, so you will understand exactly where the data comes from experimental laboratory to the one single repository called as a DNA data bank. Okay, so another is a protein, that is a Swiss prot or uniprot, where you can just type any name, trypsin, chymotrypsin, tubulin, you will get the basic information. If you write spike protein, you will get the basic information about the spike protein, some literatures, related structures, sequence, mutations, everything you will get on the protein or Swiss prot databases. And third one is a 3D structure database called as a, where you can get the 3D structures of the data, like protein, not only protein, but nucleic acid informations, lipid bilayer membrane informations, carbohydrate related informations. Those are crystallized by using the biophysical method. Which are these methods? X-ray, NMR, and cryo-EM. These are the three methods. So now you know that these are the databases, and where you will get the primary sequence and tertiary structure of the biological macromolecules. Let me go to the, so now you can, those are in BSc level or MSc level or PhD level. If you want to do something, you want to play something with NCBI databases, here NCBI tutorials are there. Then you can, anybody can write down this, or I will share this slide to you. So how to learn basics. So these are the NCBI tutorials where you can learn lot of things. Learn about the basics of molecular biology and bioinformatics. You can correlate those things. So no need to go to anywhere. You just click on NCBI, go into tutorial section, training and tutorial. You can learn yourself to understand the molecular biology and bioinformatics. So let me go to the next slide. So biophysical data. So that is initial data, primary or secondary data. Now tertiary data, how you can get the crystal, what the crystal structure data. So you have to do an experimental study. So you have to at least know that protein, DNA, RNA, if you want to isolate. So you have to isolate first. So isolation consists of a lot of steps. Okay, breaking of cell, then purifications, isolations, using the different methods. So methods, isolation of DNA, RNA, and protein, it depends upon the, like methods are something related to each other, but you have to follow some methods to isolate the protein, DNA, or RNA. Once you have isolated part, what you can do, you can use that for the purifications. You need a purified sample, 95% purity sample you need for the crystallizations. So then you can use chromatography here to purify the protein, DNA, and RNA molecules. So I'm not going to go into deep into the protein like purification method as well as isolation method. You can find out in your textbook also. So, and the finally is the crystallization. Once you crystallize, you can use X-ray, NMR, or some other cryo-EM kind of a data or electron microscopic data to crystallize the protein, DNA, or RNA. You can see this is the X-ray diffraction, protein crystal, diffraction, paging, electron density map, and from electron density map, model evaluation or PDB submission. Now, once you have protein structure through this method, X-ray, so you have a final model, and you can submit this final model into the protein database. So there are some on databases, RCSB databases, NCBI databases, there are some tools are available how you can put your sequence into these particular databases. Now you can see here exactly on this point, molecular modeling plays very important role. So I'm going to just slide to the next one. So what are the challenges of solving protein structures? So is it possible, if you see some back slides, go to the black side. If you see the entries in protein databases and RCSB, there are some problems. So there are number of sequences are available compared to the three-dimensional structures. Means NMR, X-ray, or some other biophysical techniques need expertise, and it involves the largest challenges are cost, time, and expertise. So if you are doing PhD within 3 years, it is sometimes more difficult to purify, then go isolation, and then go further some others. You cannot get all the expertise or all the instrument at one place. So that's why it may involve cost, time, and expertise. So solving structures using crystallography and NMR requires extremely specialized training, a high degree of skill, and a lot of sometimes luck. So why I'm using luck? Because in case of a lipid bilayer membrane embedded structures, So people, it is very difficult to isolate the structures which are available in the protein structures which are available in the lipid bilayer. But nowadays, that is also possible because cryo-EM solve these problems. So the cost of solving a unique structure is on the order of that much. Maybe it is sometime less or more, but you have to spend lot of money to solve the protein structures. So how you can, like you can see here, growth of protein sequences and structures over time. So 1580, 158967, that much of the structures are available in 2019, but the number of sequences are too much. So this is exactly where molecular modeling plays very important role. Now you have a protein sequence and you don't know about this three-dimensional coordinate. You don't know anything, where is the active site, which are the residues are involved, okay, how it looks like, and why crystal structure, that I will say you, that I will explain in the next slide. You can see here. Now why molecular modeling? Now you connect this slide, number of sequences, suppose you consider like 28 lakhs, and number of structure around 2000. So how you can correlate this? So how molecular modeling play important role? So molecular modeling introduces all methods like theoretical and computational used to model or mimic the behavior of molecules. The methods are used in the field of computational chemistry, protein modeling, drug design, material sciences. So by using molecular modeling techniques, you can predict this protein structure. That method is called as a homology modeling method. I'm discussing this method in deep in the few slides. Another is molecular docking. Why molecular docking? Nowadays, some inhibitors, like so now you, in last 1 year, everyone goes into the some basic problem like corona related, and people are trying to find out exactly the vaccine or trying to find out exactly the some drug molecules, inhibitors. So how these drug molecules or inhibitor interacted with the like main protease, papain like protease. So people are trying to understand and trying to synthesize new compounds. Okay, targeting the papain or targeting the main protease, targeting the certain proteins of a corona or other related systems. So molecular docking is one of the important technique in molecular modeling nowadays for new drug development process. Another is a structure-based drug design. Structure-based means now you have a structure. What structure? Protein or DNA, and you want to design a drug. So people are using a molecular modeling approach called a structure-based drug design for the drug development process. And another is a molecular dynamic simulation, which is play a very important role in biological sciences, chemical sciences, and physical sciences, because it tries to solve, like in molecular dynamic simulations, atoms are interacted with each other for a certain period of time, and you will see the dynamicity of the molecule by solving the Newton's second law of motion. That is F is equal to ma. Force generated when mass is equal to a. Acceleration means velocity upon time. Suppose we allow some atom to interact with each other, and you will find out exactly what will happen after 1 nanosecond, 2 nanosecond, 1 femtosecond, 1 time. So you will get exactly the live trajectory. Means भविष्य में जाना, इसको बोलते हैं भविष्य में जाना. So we will see of what will happen 1 nanosecond or 2 nanosecond. We will discuss molecular dynamic simulation in this last part of this study. So do you have anyone have a questions? If no, I will go to the next slide.
Sir, I have one question in the chat box from Niharika.
Just a minute. Can you
No, sir. I'll read the question for you, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. She's asking, sir, are these databases useful even while carrying out the work in food laboratories?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Yeah, definitely. You can use these databases. So the food means what? There are proteins, there are carbohydrates, there are lipids, and foods means what? Exactly. So these are the composition of the foods. Sometimes like starch, carbohydrates, or that kind of information is there. So you can use in food science and technology also to create these databases.
And one more question is from sir, Subhash Sahu, sir. How molecular modeling can be useful in vaccine production, sir?
I will explain next slide.
Yeah, maybe during the applications of molecular modeling. Okay, sir. And the next is, what is molecular docking by Munazar Rashid?
Yeah, molecular docking means, suppose you have a protein and you consider that your protein, three-dimensional protein, looks like your hand. Okay, जैसे हम अपनी मुट्ठी बंद करते हैं ना, so you may consider that your hand, folded hand, is like a protein, three-dimensional protein. If you put this hand into the water, what will happen? The solvent which interacted with the surface, called as solvent accessible surface area. Once you know that, then you can see sometimes there are clefts are there. Okay, sometimes pockets are there. Okay, these pockets, these clefts may be used as a maybe used as an active site. Means all clefts or all like all kind of pockets are not active site, but some pockets are active sites. So you can use this information to dock a ligand of protein or DNA with a protein receptor or any receptor molecules. So I'm going to explain this molecular docking in a few slides. Next, please.
Yes, sir. And how structure based on drug design, how we can identify? This is from Munazar Rashid again.
Yeah, same thing. These
Yeah,
are the 4 points I'm going to explain in the next slide.
Yes. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. That would do. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Should I go to the next slide?
Yes, I think we should.
Yeah. So the first is a protein 3D structure prediction, and so many people are actually doing on online fun like to develop models. Okay, so you can see here. So if you have sequence, protein sequence, and you don't want to go the X-ray or NMR, or some other biophysical techniques because you don't have money. Because nowadays money is a very important factor to play a very important role in research and other kind of activities. And in that case, if you isolate some protein sequences, you can use that protein sequence to model a three-dimensional structures. Some ab initio methods are there, some threading methods are there, and some methods which are currently coming in market called as artificial intelligence to use to make a three-dimensional sequence to make a three-dimensional models of protein. Okay, so suppose if you have a sequence and if you compare what are the requirements to make a three-dimensional structure of protein. The very first requirement is a template structure. Template means whose crystal structure is known. Okay, and sequence, that is called as a target. In this figure, you can see green one is a template structure, and here unknown structure means a sequence is only there, no structure is there. But you can see a template target alignment gives a structure called as a three-dimensional model of a unknown structure. Okay, so how it is possible? It's very interesting. So homology modeling, it is called as a homology modeling technique, and it plays very important role in drug designing, vaccine development, then drug interactions, and so many. Like it evolutionized the concept of computational modeling, and that's why now I'm going to explain in the next slide that how the protein folding problem is solved by using the molecular modeling approach. So homology modeling, you can have a sequence, you have a template structure. Now how you can find out the template structure? It is very interesting. Now earlier in a few slides before, I have shown that the RCSB database is there. So and BLAST are there. BLAST means basic local search alignment tools, which is also available on the NCBI. You blast your sequence against a PDB database. Once you blast, you will get a possible template structure which are having a maximum sequence similarity with your sequence. Now you can consider that protein structure to make a model. So what are the degree of similarity within a protein and template? So 70% sequence similarity is considered as one of the best for making a protein making a three-dimensional structure of protein whose structure is not solved. 50% sometimes used, but 30% and 15% is a very less similarity. You cannot consider to make a model. So the concept is very simple. In evolution, what will happen? Certain class of protein is evolved in that particular family. Suppose dehydrogenase is there, alkaline phosphatase is there, or certain different classes of proteins are there. So proteins in evolution, what will happen? The sequence are maybe mutated or maybe have some other changes are there. But that changes are not a disadvantage for the protein sequence, but it is sometimes advantage to the protein sequence because it's a part of evolution. So in a sequence, there is evolutionary there. Similarly, in a crystal structure also, there is some evolutions. Okay, protein structure evolution is also there. So it always maintains as a three-dimensional fold. Okay, suppose if you have trypsin from E. coli and a trypsin from human or trypsin from like a plant, you can see similarities. You will definitely find a similarity. Suppose I will give a best example, and that example is a tubulin. Okay, the tubulin is present in the human cell. Also, the tubulin is present in the plant cell also. So cytoskeleton element present in the human cell and plant cell are common. Same cytoskeleton elements are there. So that's why if you compare the structure, sequence identity and sequence similarity and then structure similarity, both the structures look same. Means evolutionary, should be a conservance. If there is a no conservance there or no specific protein are conserved, then what will happen? May structure function relationship may break, and it is a disadvantageous to the that system. That system is that organisms. So that's why you can choose a template sequence whose identity is 70% or maybe 50%. You can consider that. Then what will happen in protein three-dimensional predictions? So you have to like backbone generation. Yeah, I will tell you. Suppose if you have primary sequence or second primary sequence, what will happen? One amino acid is connected to another. You can see in this E is connected to A, L is connected to A is connected to G. So it's a backbone structure is same. We call it a peptide bond. Is it right? A peptide bond. Peptide bond is same, but its side chain is different. Okay, means if you make a model, it's a peptide bond is same, evolutionary, it's a fold is same. Only the side chain conformation is different. Okay, means if you have 70%, you definitely take that. Go to the backbone generations, then loop modeling. Suppose loop is very dynamic in a protein. You can see here the loop is here. Loop is very dynamic. So it's the modeling is very important. You can do loop modeling, homology modeling also. And side chain modeling. Side chain means suppose serine is there, serine का साइड चेन अलग होगा, alanine का साइड चेन अलग होगा, lysine का साइड चेन अलग होगा. So side chain modeling is also done in homology model. That's why you will get a hundreds, 200s or 300 type different models, which is based upon some scoring functions, and that you can choose the lowest energy model you can choose for the further modeling. And model validation. So how you can validate the model? Okay, so model validations is only sometime or every time is done by using the one of the renowned technique called as the Ramachandran plot. And Ramachandran plot gives you idea about the whether your sequences or amino acid sequences are coming to the allowed region or in allowed region or disallowed regions. If there is a disallowed region, what will happen? Then there is a problem. A number of sequences. Suppose if your Ramachandran plot shows 90% sequences are come into the allowed region, then you can say your model is very good. Or you can refine your model by using a molecular dynamics simulation. So simulation is another way, or sometimes you can use a PUT. That is one software not mentioned here, but you can use PUT to refine your templates like a target structure, new or unknown tree structures. So now you have a protein three-dimensional structure ready for your unknown sequence. So there are online databases are there called as the Swiss model databases available. I think Modeler is standalone software is available. You can use or you can go on website and just put your sequence and make your model. Then you will understand how exactly your model looks like. And you can validate your model by using the Ramachandran plot, which is also available on the free, like which is you can make a Ramachandran plot on PDB-Sum databases. So there are two databases. The first database is the Swiss model for generation of three-dimensional models, and the second database is called as the PDB-Sum database for generation of a Ramachandran plot. Whatever the questions, I will take in the next after the end of the session. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Or do you have some, maybe there are a lot of questions people ask.
Yeah, there are many, sir. We can take it at the end, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me go to the next slide. Okay, so nowadays, very interesting technique coming to the market. Everybody know that AI ML. After every 2 days, you will get an email that you learn AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning for market understanding any sector. This AI and ML now enter into the any sector. Even in mobile marketing, business, share market, everywhere you can see AI ML. And this artificial intelligence is right now enter into the protein structure predictions. And they claim that. So this is AlphaFold, and they have a software called DeepMind software developed by using artificial intelligence and machine learning that how the protein exactly folds. So you can see here structure of protein that were predicted by an artificial intelligence, that is a blue color model, and experimentally determined, that is a green color model. Now you can solve the protein folding problem, and they claim that we solve protein folding problem. We can just give a sequence, they give a model. Now it is that much of easy. Okay, so do you want X-ray, NMR, or biophysical methods for generation of 3-dimensional of protein? Anybody wants? No. Why? Because you got this kind of computational modeling techniques to develop a model. Okay. Now let me go to the another. What are the applications of protein structure predictions? The predicted models are already being used for drug design or drug screening using a structure-based approach. There are so many industries. People, I think Lupin, then Jubilant Biosciences, and BBRC, and so many like industry currently in India, they are using, or out of India, they are using a structure-based approach to design a new drug. Then one more important, companies working on antibody development can generate thousands of antibody sequences in response to targets. So I will tell, I have one question from the audience that where exactly antibody development. So I will tell you one more important experimental techniques come into market in, I think in this, already it is in market, but I will tell you that the technique is called as a CAR-T technology. I will repeat again, CAR-T technology, that is a chimeric antigen receptor therapy. And this chimeric antigen receptor therapy is used in a cancer immunotherapy, where they take T cells from patients, and these T cells are again re-engineered in lab, and they develop antibodies on that T cells. Whose T cell? The patient's T cell. And these modified T cell, which are having the antibodies, and that T cell again re-injected to the patients, and you can see very interesting results in leukemia or solid tumor, lipoma, or some other cancer like brain tumor related cancers. There is a around 80 to 90% chances of survival of the patients. Means you will get the bone, like you will get the maybe you can really relieve from the cancer. So that is called as the CAR-T technologies. So in that, how they modify the T cell, they develop one CAR-T antibodies, and that CAR-T antibodies can easily bind to the CD19, GD2, and other receptors of the cancer cell and control its progression. So if anybody is interested in CAR-T technology, you will just go on YouTube. There are 2 minutes video. You just go with that video, you will get lots of ideas. Maybe after a few days, you will get some kind of publication from Indian group also about the CAR-T technology. And I am one of the part of that group. So the people may also want to model genetic variations. What is genetic variations? Commutations. Into a variation, variation means the set amino acid sequence variation into a protein structure from site-direct mutation study to large insertion and deletions of the amino acid. Insertion of amino acid, deletion of amino acids. Or sometime you can use protein structure modeling, understanding the SNP. So what is SNP? SNP is the single nucleotide polymorphisms. You can model a protein structure in a way that you have a wild type and you have a variant, or you have a mutated structures. You can make a model, and then you can go for simulation. You will get the structure function relationship, so how the mutation affects the protein structure or protein folding or protein conformational changes. So you will get that much of information without doing X-ray or NMR. So let me go to the another slide. I think everybody got this information. So another technique is called as a molecular docking. Okay, it is very interesting. People are always saying docking, and maybe docking in protein, DNA drug. Lot of things are there, but you know that how this works. I in the few minutes before I mentioned that the solvent accessible surface area. You can see here this is target structure, and this is the solvent accessible surface area, and you can see here there are some clefts out there, and how this ligand go and bind here. It is very interesting. This ligand goes and bind and find the possible conformations. So maybe on a protein structure, there are a lot of possible positions are there. But in molecular docking, you can use certain algorithms or scoring functions that can be used or helpful to find out exactly where maximum time your ligand molecule goes and bind. That you consider as a molecular, that you consider as a natural binding site or putative binding site. So molecular docking is the study of how two or more molecular structures fit together. Two or more molecular structures. In a simple definition, docking is a molecular modeling technique that is used to predict how a protein interact with the small molecules, or protein interact with protein interact with DNA, protein interact with RNA. So you will get idea exactly how these two molecules interact with each other. So it uses solvent accessible surface area. Also, it uses some other algorithms. I think it is sometimes it is hard for understanding the scoring function algorithms, but I will explain in a very short way, in a simple way, and a way that now you know that this is a ligand molecule. Okay, it undergoes conformational changes. It can rotate bond, it can rotate angle, everything possible in ligand molecules. Okay, means when it binds to the protein molecule, what will happen? It changes its conformations. When it changes its conformation, it may interact with a certain residues around the protein, around this site. Okay, and when it interacts, what will happen? It generates hydrogen bonding interactions. Is it right? Hydrogen bonding interactions. They need to generate van der Waals interactions. They need generates electrostatic interactions. Means bonded interactions and non-bonded interactions are play very important role in the binding of this ligand molecule to the protein site. So I will explain this in the next slide. So molecular docking. There are types of molecular docking. There are basically there are two types of dockings. One is rigid docking and another is induced fit docking. So in case of the blind docking and local docking, it may consider is called as a rigid docking. Why it is rigid docking? Here protein is rigid, means there is no side chain variation, side chain conformation changes is there. Only ligand is goes and find out is the possible conformations. Okay, and possible conformations generate the energy. Okay, and based upon the energy, it gives idea that which energy is highest, which conformation is having the lowest energy. That conformation you consider for the further study. And in case of induced docking, so this is rigid docking, this is induced fit docking. Now in case of induced fit docking, so I think in case of induced fit docking, you know this is the active site. Suppose this is a particular active site is there. Okay, and in this active site, these residues 1, 2, 3 residues may interact with the suppose this is an active site, and you want to dock this, and 1, 2, 3, 4 residues are interacted with this. So you have to find out the most stable conformation at the active site. You change the side chain. Here initially in rigid docking, protein are stable, there is no variation, but in the induced fit docking, you can here ligand is also undergoes conforming changes, and certain residues, specific residues also undergoes conform changes. So that will helpful to find out the possible conformation. Why induced fit docking is very important? Because in actual conditions, everything is dynamic. Is it right? Everything is dynamic, means all molecules are very dynamic. So induced fit docking play important role in that case where you know the active sites. So what are the different software used in docking? So Gold, FlexX, MOE, AutoDock, Doc6, Chimera sometimes. People are using all these softwares for molecular docking. But their basic idea is that number of conformations, which comes conformation means a molecular behavior, structure. and its energy. Okay, molecular conformation is structural and it's a conformation. So this conformation having the different energies, and you can choose that energy based upon the lowest conformation. You can see here. I will explain in a very short, receptor structure. You need 3D molecule or homology based models you can use. Then ligand preparations, 2D or 3D, 2D convert into the 3D, and that 3D compound you can use it for the molecular docking. Then at least you should know the binding site. If you don't know binding site, you can go with blind docking and local docking. Means you don't know anything about the where your drug goes. Then in that case, you can use blind docking. And once you know that in blind docking, what will happen? I will show in the next few slides. And then local docking. And the next one is the grid box generations and docking calculation. You can see here in the blind docking, you don't know anything about this. Is AutoDock. Okay, it's a very well-known software. People are used this software from long way, and thousands of citations go to the AutoDock. You can see here, this is the protein molecules, and the entire this is the grid box, blue, green, and red color one on the grid box. So this is the space where you can search possible binding conformations. So you put your ligand this side, this side, this side, this side, and start docking. It finds some space, maximum conformations, and you will get this kind of a graph. So how many conformations? Suppose you run 100 conformations, and now you know that at these positions maximum 60 conformation goes, and this blue and another blue and another blue, these are the conformation versus binding energy. Plus -8 and this is -7, but maximum time it preferred this conformation. Then you can say that based upon the conformation, maximum conformation binding energy, we consider that this is the natural binding site. So that's why people are using molecular docking techniques to understand the natural binding sites. So you may say that, how you know that this is binding site? That's why maybe you can do a blind study. You use a crystal structure which is solved with a ligand, and then perform a blind docking. You will get the same position. You will get the same position where drug is going to bind, because the solvent soluble surface area play very important role in the ligand binding. Because every molecule having the van der Waals, static interactions, and a lot of things are there. So in the conformation, you will get the binding energy, ligand efficacy, then van der Waals, hydrogen bonding, dissolution energy. That much of information we will collect from the molecular docking study. So that's why binding energy here -7.63 means, which indicate that it's a negative energy. So what binding energy include? That is very interesting. So binding energy include delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta F. Here delta H is equal to bonded interactions and non-bonded interactions. So maybe it is sometimes it is hard to understand for biological people, but it's okay. The binding energy includes the delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S, and delta H consists of a enthalpy, which consists of a van der Waals interactions, electrostatic interactions, surface area, polar and non-polar contributions, and bonded interaction contributions. So all these come into the binding energy. That's why viewer in the paper definitely ask about this kind of energy, whether it is a negative or it is a positive. And always it is a negative one, because if the enthalpy is negative, then negative may go to the highest affinity. What are the different application of molecular docking? So you can see here, I have mentioned these are the some applications where you can find out. These are H1 integrase, a new binding site for the drug target AIDS was discovered by this person. Okay, so these are the different examples where molecular docking and molecular dynamic simulation used to find out the most possible to find out the best inhibitor against dopamine receptor, allocan A receptor, typhoon TGF, alpha-1A, androgenic receptor, HIV integrase. So where you will get this information? You can mention. I have mentioned here the one site, okay, one publication, and you can use this DOID to find out the related information. You will get a lot of information about how the molecular docking and molecular dynamic simulation used for identifying the inhibitors against this protein. So that's why it is a very interesting techniques. Maybe if you learn, you will get more kind of a drug or inhibitor molecules against the protein. So let me go to another slide, which is very interesting slide. Yeah. you can see here this movie. This is a papain from your well-known virus called as a coronavirus. So papain, this is the drug molecule. After molecular docking, you will find out exactly how this drug molecule interacted with a certain amino acid residue. You can see 2.2, 2.8 and some interactions. And these are the solid surface area. You will get the electronegative, electropositive surface, and the binding force. So through this kind of after molecular docking, you will get to understand hydrogen bonding interactions, or maybe you will get this kind of a graph. This is called as the 2D graph, where you will find out hydrogen bonding interactions, van der Waals interactions, or electrostatic kind of interactions, or pi type of interactions. Okay, so different type of interactions around that drug molecule you will get while after the analysis of a drug molecule. So after the molecular docking, you will get this kind of information, and this will help you to understand exactly which are the residues which are present around the drug molecules, and that's why the drug is stable. So these are the green color clearly indicate that these are the hydrogen bonding interactions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are hydrogen bonding, and these are the some other interactions, van der Waals electrostatic interactions. So where you can use this docking. So identifying the binding mode of drug, protein, and DNA with receptor structure, explore the key binding residues involved in the binding of drug, investigate the protein DNA binding modes. So you will get that much of information by using a molecular docking. I think I will go to the next slide. So another very important technique is the virtual screening or hit identifications. So in case virtual screening is used to search libraries. What kind of library? The drug library, small drug libraries. So where these drug libraries are there? Have some questions?
Yes, sir, there are few. Should we take it up right now, sir?
I think whatever. I think it will break the flow.
Yeah, flow. Yeah. So I think we'll keep it at the end, sir.
Yeah, that would be a good one. So because it is in flow now, I am very interested to explain this technique also. So virtual screening, in virtual screening, at least you should know the protein receptor molecules. You know that this is like trypsin, this is chymotrypsin, this is a tubulin. Okay, and these are the different like receptor structures are available. So you want to find out the possible ligand molecule which can inhibit the structure of like this target receptor molecules. So how you can do this? So you can do in a way that this is again a molecular docking technique, but in case here there are number of drugs molecules are more. So in earlier method only one drug molecules are there, but here 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 1.5 million compounds libraries are there. So where these libraries are there? Zinc libraries there, drug libraries are there. There are 2 or 3 or some other, I think 2 well-known drug libraries are there called as a Zinc drug library and another drug database is there. So these are the 2 very important drug libraries are available on the internet. So you can download 1.5, 2 million, thousands, hundreds of drugs based upon your choice. Maybe those drugs available in the market, those drugs are available in the, those drugs are having what KD value. KD value is less, or some natural products are there. You can based upon your choice, you can download your drugs. Some people downloaded natural products, some people downloaded those compounds are available in the market, or they can purchase. People are download that compounds. So it depends upon the choice of the person, the which drug molecules they want to search against the protein molecules. Okay. So here you can see here this is a receptor molecule and these are the drug molecules. So you can in this left side, right side, you can see here 1.5 million compounds. Virtual screening, again it is a docking. Most of the drugs you can go and search here and find out the binding energy. So which drug molecule having the least binding energy, they consider for the next steps. So in virtual screening, 1.5 million. This is a one example. Okay. So through out of 1.5 million compounds, you will get the 1,478 compounds, which means that and then 58,371 compounds. So there are compounds which shows highest binding affinity. You consider only those compounds. So here there are some Python scripts are there or some other scripts are there. So you use that script and find out exactly the binding energy which is in a particular range. So the highest binding affinity compounds you consider for further studies, and then you can see here around 1901 compounds and then 10 compounds. Whose IC50 values are 5. So you can choose these 10 compounds and say that this is the most possible compounds you can use for further studies. So whether this compound passes very important test called as the ADMET test, absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, and toxicity. If they pass the test, you can consider these 10 compounds for the further studies. But again, I will tell you, it is a static conformation because this is here one molecule is static, another drug molecule is flexible, but this is the static conformation. So how you can consider this? So you need one more technique to validate whether this compound is having highest binding affinity or not. Whether this drug molecule binds here and it's stable for longer period of time in the course of simulation, then and that compound you can consider for the for further experimental studies. You can see these are just a few compounds, and then you can do a experimental studies. So this technique is called as a virtual screening techniques. So people use virtual screening techniques for finding a new drugs. So earlier I have mentioned that these are the few drugs against some RNA kinase and other kind of proteins they develop. They use this kind of techniques to find out exactly the drug. Suppose maybe here some professors are there or some chemist professors are there, and they synthesize analogs and they want to find out exactly how these analogs, whether they are active or not. They can go with this technique. Suppose they have a 20-25 analogs, they can take that analogs, convert 2D into 3D, and they can use virtual screening technique. So they will find out exactly out of 25 which ligand molecule, which analog has a better efficacy, a better binding affinity. So they can go for the synthesis, and then they go for the next antibacterial, antifungal, anti-cancer. These are different kind of activities. Go to next slide. It is going. So you can see this is a huge, like one way that the human genome sequence, protein extraction and purification, crystallography, 3D structure determinations. If you don't have 3D structure, you can go with homology modeling, and then you will the database of active compounds, and from database you can find out this is the active site, target and binding site, then docking, structure based virtual screening, and then you can go to lead compound through synthesis of tops, experimental evaluations, and lead compound. You will get the lead compound. So many people in industry are actually doing this kind of a work to find out the active compounds, and that compounds come to the market as a drug molecule. I think go to the next slide. So you can see. So I'm going to show you one of my movie which I used for virtual screening. You just go enjoy this one. Yeah, in this movie you can see here maximum time compound prefer given positions, which is in this movie you can see this is the tubulin molecules, and this is another drug dipotolin. I use dipotolin different analogs and find out exactly how many times it prefer that position. So and then based upon the binding energy, I came to know that yes, this drug is having the highest binding affinity. That's why I can use that drug for the further studies, or I suggest some experimental people that yes, this drug is anti-cancer drugs. You can use these compounds for the future drug development process. So what are the different software for drug screening? There is Xena, Schrodinger, Discover Studio. These are the well-known softwares are used for the virtual screening. So what are the different application of virtual screening? I think so identification of potential drug compounds against the target receptor, drug design and discovery. So you may get much more information from this reference. So application of virtual screening approaches for the identification of small molecule of the Maybe this is one example, but you can use this paper for the this chapter for the understanding the more about the virtual sprint. Let me go to the next slide called as a molecular dynamics. This is one of the interesting tools of molecular modeling. It is called as a molecular dynamics simulation. Dynamics means, what is dynamics? Dynamics means moving. Something is moving. Suppose suppose if you want to, like, if you are going to a cinema hall and you see a movie from first of the time to the last after the 3 hours, you can see the hero born, and then he meet so many villains, and then fighting scenes are there, love scenes are there, and lot of things are there. Okay, at the end, whatever, maybe at the end everything is fine, maybe he has lot of problem, but at the end he can go to the ending is very good. So in a way that this is called as a trajectory. So a life trajectory. Suppose something is throwing, suppose any player is playing on the ground and he hit the ball, and the ball goes to the another position. So whatever the time required from when he hit the ball and when it reaches to other part, that is called as one trajectory, and it is depends upon time and velocity. Okay, so same thing. So if something is moving with respect to time and velocity, it can, how it can go to that position. So it is called as a deterministic simulation. So maybe I think Professor Sanjeev Patnagar asked me one question that what is a mathematical modeling and what is a other kind of modeling. So there are two types of modelings are there. One is a probabilistic modeling, and another is a stochastic modeling. In stochastic modeling, you know that this is happening. You know that this drug is bound, and you just want to understand how this drug is bound to the protein. But in probabilistic simulation, you don't know what will happen after a certain period of time. So that kind of modeling is called as a probabilistic modeling, or it is generally called as a Monte Carlo simulation. And whatever the simulation that uses Monte Carlo uses macroscopic details. Means the car is moving and it passes to one location to other locations in certain period of time, how much fuel it requires. So mathematical kind of modeling is there. And another very interesting modeling, that is a stochastic modeling, where atoms and molecules are involved. Okay, so that kind of a modeling or simulation is called as a molecular dynamic simulation. Here we use a Cartesian coordinates. So this simulation requires certain amount of data. So what is that data? At least earlier we know that RCSB database is there. There you can find out the three-dimensional structures. So three-dimensional structure means what? X, Y, and Z coordinates. Is it right? So X, Y, and Z coordinates means position is there. Absolutely. I think everybody understand that. In PDB databases, three-dimensional structures are there. So in three-dimensional structures, any three-dimensional object have X, Y, Z coordinates. And the fourth coordinate is a time. That is not available. Okay. So X, Y, Z coordinates are there. And this X, Y, Z coordinates, you can use it as an initial structure or initial position. Is it right? Now you have a PDB structures and you want to see what will happen 1 nanosecond, 2 nanosecond, 10 nanosecond, and 100 nanoseconds on the protein structure or DNA structures or protein ligand structures or whatever. So here Newton's second law of motion or the equation of motion is used. What is exactly that? F is equal to F Mach. F is equal to Mach. So what is F? The force when you allowed some atoms, these atoms, to interact with each other, it generates some force, and then it can move from velocity. It can move from one position to other position with respect to velocity and time. So A is a acceleration. Acceleration means velocity upon time. So when atoms are interact with each other, they can move from one position to other position. They can move from one position to other position with respect to time, velocity upon time, and it generates some trajectories. Trajectory means at 1 nano, like 100 picosecond, this is structure. At another 100 picosecond, this is structure. So 2 femtosecond is time step. For I think spectroscopy people know that 2 femtosecond time step is very important in dynamicity. So dynamicity is available. So when atoms are interacted with each other, what will happen with respect to time? It evolves, and you will understand if how you can use this method. Suppose you have a wild type protein and you have a mutant one. So you can compare. So how wild type and mutations interacted with the surrounding atom. If SNPs are there, mutations are there, if you want to see the conformational changes, if you want to see the understand the protein folding, protein drug interactions, effect of mutation on drug binding, you can find out, you can see everything using the molecular dynamics simulation. That's why molecular dynamics simulation owns a Nobel Prize in the computational field of the biology. Okay, that's why it is one of the best techniques to understand how the proteins fold, how conformational changes happens, how the drug, whether drug is preferred having the affinity or not, how the mutation affects on protein drug molecules, how the single nuclear polymerism affect the structure function relationship of protein molecules. So that much of huge information we can collect from the molecular dynamics simulation. So these are the some steps in the simulation: system preparation, energy management, calibration, production, and in the simulation. It's a technical part. But if you see the popular software used for the simulation is the GROMACS, Umber, NMD, Desmond, LAMMPS. So these are the well-known software currently used in the molecular dynamics simulations. So you can see GROMACS and Umber people are routinely used. LAMMPS people are using, chemistry people, some physical people, physics people are using LAMMPS. NMD is the same thing. So these are the softwares of people from not only biological physics but also from chemistry, physics, or nowadays nanoscience and technology people are used to see how carbon nanotubes are delivering the drug molecule, protein molecules inside the cell. To mimic the same environment, they are using the simulation techniques first, and then they synthesizes the CNT, then CNT balls or CNT tubes, CNT sheets, and there are different types of CNT materials are currently used, and these all are simulated by using the GROMACS, Umber, NMD, or LAMMPS, and they understand, extrapolate some property, physical properties, and these properties exactly are very important in setting the experimental experiments, biological experiment, chemical or physical experiment. So that's why this is very important tools used in a molecular modeling. So you can see here, this is one of the antibodies and which is interacting with the certain ligand molecules. You can see here. So it is a time dependent. You can see how this drug molecule is actually rotating. It changes its conformations. So it is a time dependent. Suppose it is a 20 nanosecond, means 20 nanosecond, that much of steps. So for that time period, we are allow atom to interact with atom, and we will get the basic information, how the ligand, whether stable or not, how it prefers binding affinity, everything you can calculate by using molecular dynamics simulation. So how is it possible? The trajectory comes with a, if you break the trajectory, you will get the 1 PDB structure. Okay, 1 PDB structure, and that PDB structures tells you exactly how the bonded interactions are there or non-bonded interactions are there. That is very interesting. Okay, and from that you can calculate the delta G, and delta G means delta H minus T delta S. You can calculate the enthalpy, entropy, and then you can compare how the mutation affect on protein ligand interactions, or how wild type residues interacted with the ligand molecules in a strong way. So it gives van der Waals interactions, electrostatic interactions, hydrogen bonding interactions, polar, non-polar contributions. So that much of huge information you will connect from the molecular dynamics simulation. That's what people are doing in these simulations. If you don't have crystal structure, still you can make a model and you can do a simulation and find out exactly how the binding affinity is there. And a lot of people are actually developing compounds, chemical synthesis or some other way, microbial resources. They develop a compound, or they have some ligand molecules, and they want to see antifungal, antibacterial, or some anti-cancer activity, and they want to do a molecular docking and simulation. So through known receptor, we can dock the compound, and then you can see time-dependent behavior of the molecules, and you can say that yes, the time dependent for 1 nanosecond, 10 nanosecond, our drug shows highest affinity, which can be further used for the antibacterial or antifungal properties. Now, where you can find out the application of MD simulations. So you can see MDS, means it's not a MDS chart masala, it's MDS molecular dynamic simulation. And this MDS you can use in protein drug interaction, DNA drug interactions, time dependent. Then protein folding problem also solved by using sometime molecular dynamic simulation. Effect of mutation on protein structure, RNA drug interactions, DNA protein study. So there are a lot of applications. I have not mentioned here CNT, carbon nanotubes, some others, drug delivery systems. So lot of good applications are there from MD simulation. That's why people are depends on MD simulation data. So this is one of my startup. While spending too much time on research during PhD for 7 years in Shivaji University, then postdoc for 6 years, and then for 8 months as a assistant professor, I would like to start my something in this area. This is a very simple initiation taken by me, and there are a lot of queries from experimental things that's why I would like to address this issue, and that I started molecular modeling services to explore the molecular mechanisms. So this is my first initiation in my life that I can address some of the challenges or some of the questions coming from the experimental biology. So I started molecular docking, virtual screening, molecular dynamic simulation, protein modeling, or computational chemistry, because during my PhD I used stereo conformation energy calculations using computational chemistry software like Gaussian and Spartan, and connected with the molecular dynamic simulation. So this is my contact number and email ID, and so these are the services like protein modeling, molecular docking, virtual screening, molecular dynamic simulations. So you can find out the effect of mutations, SNP on protein structure, function, protein drug interaction study, binding affinity calculations, protein stability study, binding energy calculations, DNA protein interactions. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It was so informative, so elaborative, and at the same time, very simple to understand both for the students as well as the faculty. Thank you for so much of inputs about molecular docking, Kumbhar sir. Now, I think the topic is open for questions. We have already few questions from the chat box. Should we take them up, sir?
Yeah, we can go.
Very few important questions. Yes. Because already many of the questions have been answered during your last few slides, so I don't think we would be taking up those, but at least those which were slightly deviated from those I'll put forth, sir. One question was, how could this molecular modeling be applied to hybridized seeds?
Hybridized seeds?
Seeds, yes, sir, towards plant genetic engineering. This question would be?
Yeah, I don't have answer right now. Let me go some literature and then I will definitely answer this question. This is one of the beautiful questions because agri is one of the challenging things, but I will tell you protein modeling and protein bioengineering used to make a potent protein and active proteins. So molecular dynamic simulation, if you change some residue and you can change the affinity. If you target some protein, if you have protein structures, you can use that, and by bioengineering method, means insertion or mutations, you can, using bioengineering or molecular dynamic simulation, you can find out exactly potent, like highest affinity proteins against the receptor or any DNA molecules or any protein molecules. If it is from agri or some other seed, you can increase the stability of protein, or you can increase the function relationship of protein. So you can use molecular dynamic simulations. I think maybe there are some other questions.
Okay, sir. Yes, I think that has answered the query. And the next beautiful one more question is, so which visualization tools? Yes, sir. Should I go ahead with the next question, sir?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which visualization tools would you prefer for analyzing the docked molecules?
PyMol is the best one. If you want to go in detail, you can use a Chimera. But both the tools are both the tools.
Okay, and one more question is with related to virus RNA tracking. Can this molecular docking has any special provision as such for virus RNA tracking, and this is in context to COVID-19. Yes, sir. Kumbar, sir, I think you are on mute.
Kumbar sir, please unmute yourself. Unmute. Kumbar.
You are on mute, sir. Kumbar, sir?
Yes, he is trying. He is trying.
Okay, okay, sir.
He is trying. There is some problem, I think. Kumbar. Unmute. Unmute. There is some problem to you. Unmute yourself.
Mm,
I will call him. I will call him. 1 minute.
no, I think he can leave the meeting and again join back, Deshmukh, sir.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
You can leave the meeting and again join the meeting.
yeah.
Kumbar.
That would resolve the issue.
Prerna Jalkote wants to ask the question, ma'am.
Yeah, I would take up.
So students have enjoyed really,
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
definitely, I think.
Yes.
and actually this is a topic of research workers.
Yes,
Ah.
yes.
Kumbara join. Hello.
Not it, sir. Not it. He might be trying. Yeah, he has joined. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, please.
I'll repeat the question, sir. Yeah, the visualization tools you are answering, sir.
Yeah, Pymol and Chimera you can use for that.
Okay. And one more question, very interesting, is what are the softwares that we need to learn to take up this molecular modeling?
First, you people start with using Rasmol or Pymol, or first you go with visualization. Once you understand how to visualize, how to find out the active site, binding pockets, DNA protein interactions, then you can easily go with some of the books. I will inform you, I will send you the link. You can please share that link with other people. Any molecular modeling book you can use for understanding or learn the molecular modeling techniques. A lot of
Yes, sir. And one more question was, can we do the calculations of the binding energy and all on these simulation studies?
Yeah. That's very nice questions you asked. Now, when you simulate the complex for 1 nanosecond or 2 nanosecond or 10 nanoseconds, suppose, now you have a trajectory, and in each trajectory, time-dependent PDB structures are available. So these PDB structures comes with the interactions. Means what type of interactions is the bonded interactions and non-bonded interactions. Bonded means hydrogen bonding interaction, and non-bonded means van der Waals and electrostatic interactions are there. So you can, by using certain tools, available in Umber, NMD, as well as in GROMACS, you can use that tool. That tool is called as MMGBSA tools are there. MMGBSA or MMPBSA tools are there. So you can use stable trajectory. Suppose if you do 10 nanoseconds, the last 5 nanoseconds is stable. You can use that stable trajectory for analyzing the binding affinity. So trajectory means each time step PDB structures are there. If you have a equilibrated trajectory, means you have a good data, and you can use that data for calculating the bonded interactions and non-bonded interactions. Means delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Okay, and delta H consists of a bonded and non-bonded. Means you will get the enthalpy. Once you know the enthalpy, it is in negative. You can find out the delta G also. Yeah, the tool is available for that.
Okay, thank you, sir. And one, I think, should be the last question because we are running out of time. How these molecular modeling used in phylogenetic studies, sir?
Structural phylogenetic and sequence phylogenetic. Suppose if you know sequence are varying, they have a like evolutionary conserved regions. Similarly, protein structures are also conserved because sequence conserved, structure conserved. So you can find out the structure function relationship by using the in case of a evolutionary thing. Suppose if you have a sequence and you know that this sequence is having the maximum similarity with that sequence and structures are not available, you can model the structure. So you can do simulation, find out the structure function relationship using the simulation as well as other modeling approach.
Yes, sir. Yes, I think we have almost answered all the questions of the audience. I think the participants are satisfied with the queries.
Madam, I
Yeah,
had one question.
yes,
Kumar
yes,
sir,
please, sir.
Kumar sir, it was
Yes, sir.
really an informative session, a good
Thank you.
presentation. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to ask that if you are thinking of protein engineering, so
Yeah.
maybe a secondary structure protein or a tertiary structure protein. So
Yeah.
which site should be the which part of that particular protein should be a good candidate where you can go for the modification?
Yeah.
Should that particular
That's
study be done with the help of bioinformatics tool?
yeah. I will tell you. Suppose if you have an unknown sequence, if you hit this sequence against the protein databases, you will get the conserved domain. Okay, conserved
Yeah,
domain.
yeah.
Suppose if you remove acidic to acidic or acidic to basic or aromatic to aromatic, you will get some variations are there. If you permutation combination, if you do and if you do simulation or that kind of things, you will get the protein stability. So based upon the protein stability, with respect to residue composition variations, because if you hit the unknown sequence with the protein databases, you will get the conserved region. Through conserved region, or you can change residue and you find out exactly if this structure is having the highest affinity, stability. You can use that structure for protein engineering or future like synthesis, or maybe you can other bioengineering aspects.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you,
That
sir.
that that's the beauty of evolution, that we can
Yes,
understand
yes,
some concepts from our back also.
yes, yes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I think we would now go ahead with the winding of this webinar. It was
Yeah.
such a wonderful webinar, Kumbhar sir, and not only the information that you have shared, but also your humor also, saying about the chaat masala. So definitely it had
Yeah.
lightened the moment of the entire webinar.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yes,
Maybe
sir.
you understand MDS means MDS chaat masala is not MDS.
Yes.
It's a multi-dynamic selection.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. I think Dr. Tushar Borse, sir, has few instructions for the candidates regarding the certificates. So, Borse, sir, can you please inform the
Okay.
participants?
Yes, yes, yes. The candidates, the participants are informed that the feedback link is being shared into the chat box, also in the YouTube presentation, also in the WhatsApp group. So all are requested to fill up that particular feedback. Make sure that you are providing the correct email address, because the certificate is going to be delivered at in your email address what you are providing. Right? So kindly do that. Fill the feedback form. As the computerized program, it has an limitation of 100 certificates per day. So don't get panic. Within 2 to 3 days, you will get your certificate delivered on the email address. So all are requested to fill the feedback form and get your certificate. Thank you, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yes. Now going ahead with the last few minutes, which we would be holding on to the participants. Yeah, to give a formal thanks note to our guested speaker, Dr. Kumbhar sir. I request now Professor Neelima Pendharkar, the president of today's webinar, being the institution's innovation council president and also the coordinator of IQAC and head department of microbiology, to kindly propose the vote of thanks towards this webinar. Please, ma'am.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
1 minute, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Only one
Yes.
minute. I want to give one instruction. Many students have written that we want PPT. So
Yes.
this recorded lecture will be available tomorrow on WhatsApp. Link will be given. So there is a PPT.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Second
is
thing,
right.
at the beginning only I have given instruction to all candidates, shut off your video. Even then 2-3 candidates continuously made open, means the video was open. I have removed them. Again I am giving the instruction that from next time, always Vasant Rathod also. I have removed Vasant Rathod 2 times. But again, he has made his video open. So please don't open your video. Otherwise, I will remove it. Shubhangi. Okay? Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, Honorable Stalwart Dr. M. Deshmukh sir, Dr. Bajrang Kumbar sir, Honorable Principal of our college, Dr. Bharat Shinde sir, and respected dignitaries who have contributed for this particular webinar. So we at Vidya Pratishthan Arts, Science and Commerce College, Baramati, with its Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, Institutions Innovation Council, in collaboration with Microbiology Society India, organized the webinar on molecular modeling in biological sciences today on 25th January 2021. So for this webinar, we could get a resource person right from the rural India and who journey to IIT Bombay. This is Dr. Bajrang Kumar, sir, who is MPhil doctoral research fellow from IIT Bombay. So he enlightened us on molecular biological data, protein and gene databases. Hello. So he enlightened us with the GPAC, UTB archive, as well as NCBI tutorials, biophysical data, challenges involved for solving protein structures, molecular modeling with respect to protein structure prediction, molecular docking, structure-based drug design, molecular dynamic simulations, protein 3D structure prediction, artificial intelligence for protein structure prediction, and applications of protein structure prediction. Sir, you also enlightened and focused on molecular docking softwares, docking protocols, and applications of docking. You throw light on virtual screening, the databases for drug library and its application. So you also explained very nicely the molecular dynamic simulation softwares, the steps involved, the applications of it, and computational modeling services for which you are going to, you are extending and venturing into a startup and consultancy to explore molecules. So on this particular great eve of Republic Day of India, it's a great privilege for us to have with us for this particular occasion, sir. And sir, we are really proud of you that on this great eve that you contributed and you are contributing for our countrymen and country citizens. So our best wishes we would like to extend from the audience, from the great audience, and the best wishes for your startup and innovation cell also, sir. So you didn't went to the foreign countries to extend your expertise, but you want to dedicate yourself, and that shows your greatest determination. And
Yeah,
so we are all proud of you and hats of you.
yeah,
I'd like to thank, yes, sir, Dr. Bajrang Kumbar, sir. You have given us the molecular docking chart masala today. And yes, you have spared your valuable time for all of us. So I would like to thank the ever inspiring stalwart for our microbiology fraternity who has the patronage of building this particular microbiology community. I would thank Dr. M. Deshmukh sir, President, Microbiology Society India, for extending his patronage, for organizing this particular webinar and making it a great success. I would like to thank Dr. Sanju Patnankar sir, President of Microbiology Society for Goa as well as Maharashtra. I would like to thank our ever-inspiring principal of our college, Dr. Bharat Shinde sir of Vidya Pratishthan Arts, Science and Commerce College, for his the ever motivation and the introductory speech for this webinar. I would like to thank Vice Principal Dr. Lala Saib Kashis sir of our college, and very specific thanks I would like to extend to Dr. Tushar Bose sir, who is convener of Institutions Innovation Council, and Professor Mrs. Arsumalli Nilima Devi, who is young and ever enthusiastic for such particular academic ventures of our college and department always. So not the least, I would like to acknowledge and thank all the researchers across the length and breadth of India, the faculty members, more 25 plus faculty members joined for this, and who could grace this particular occasion. So I would like to wish, on the eve of this great Republic of India, in this particular great evening, and would like to declare that this particular session, it has been over. So for the Microbiology Society, you should go to the website www.microbiosociety.org, and who has contributed for the COVID crisis like anything, whether it was raising CM fund or Prime Minister fund, or whether extending help to the patients across the nation. So it was a great movement under the leadership, great leadership of Dr. M. Deshmukh sir, and we should all contribute to him as per our capacities as we can extend. So once again, on the behalf of the college authorities, I would like to thank you all once again. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nilima